Hello everyone, my name is Erin and I am a trainee art therapist here in uHub. Welcome to week 2 of our nature art huddles, and this week we're making paintbrushes. So just before we get into it, I really hope that you enjoyed last week's session and got to make some beautiful boats, and hopefully you got to go out and test it and they worked well. So today, as I said, we're making some paintbrushes, but we're going to be making it from things that we find outdoors. So what you're going to need to do is firstly to get outside and find some sticks and maybe some moss and leaves and different things that you think might make a nice brush texture. So it's really lucky if you find a feather, because it can make some beautiful marks. But don't worry if you can't find a feather, because everything else is just as good. So before we go through the rest of it, let's go outdoors and find some sticks. Okay, so I've been outside and I've found all the things that I would like for making my paintbrushes. So as you can see, I've quite a few sticks, so don't worry if you don't have as many. And then I've lifted different things like leaves, and I've lifted a pine cone to test out as well, and then moss. So that's everything that I've got and that you will need for making your paintbrushes. We're going to make our paintbrushes with everything that we've found. So what I've picked first of all to use is these leaves here, okay, because I thought they might be nice for a brush. So what I've done is I've pulled a few off, and just so that you can see, I'll pull another one off. So I'm just going to pull some of these off, and what I'm going to do is put them around the stick. So good thing to do is to get your string ready, because if you've got it all around the stick and you really like it and then you don't have the string, it might fall off and then you'll have to start again. But with EC, I'll probably have to start again anyway. So what I'm going to do is place it around my stick. And it doesn't matter if some of your leaves are longer, because we can always trim it if we don't like the way that it brushes. So once they're all around and I'm happy, I'm going to get my string and wrap it round a few times so that it's nice and secure. And then I'm going to tie it. And this bit can be a wee bit tricky, so if you need to get an adult to help you, grab them over and get them to hold the stick or maybe to tie it for you. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't look that pretty, because we're going to get it covered in beautiful paint and then you'll not even see it anymore. So I'm just trimming the bottom, and that's really just so that it doesn't get in the way when I go to brush with the paint. So there you go, there's one brush. Okay, and I made one earlier with moss, but I'll show you how I did it. So this one I've used with moss. So what might be quite nice is if we put the paint on the top and then squelch it down like with dots. So how I did that was I got another stick and then I got some moss, and this time I kind of set it on the top of the stick and then brought it round like so. But I'm going to get some string cut first before I try to tie it. Okay, so I'm putting it on the top, and then moss you can kind of squish it whatever way you want. So we're just squishing it all around and then wrapping our string round. And this one could be a wee bit more fiddly than the other. So if you need to get help, don't be afraid to ask. And another knot, because this doesn't feel as secure. Okay. This one is more fiddly. Okay, so there is my moss on the stick. Okay. And just before we get started with painting, I've one other thing that I've collected that I'm going to add as the brushes, and this is just some long grass. Okay, so again, just grab whatever stick you like that you find. I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to add my grass on. So I'm going to add it quite similar to the first one. And then we can get into painting and have lots of fun. So, my grass is a little bit dry because I collected it maybe a few days ago, but it doesn't matter if you do it the same day. And I'm just making sure that I've got some hanging off so that the paint goes on it. And I'm just wrapping it around. So that's where my paint's going. So it's quite similar to a normal paintbrush. And then again, I'm wrapping my string round, and then I'm going to tie it. Okay, so now our brushes are made. I'm going to let you go and gather your paint, and then we'll get started with painting. Okay, so I hope that you've made your brushes and that you've had really good fun making them. So now we're going to do some painting. So gather whatever colours you want. So I've picked 3 colours that are my favourite. So I've picked pink, yellow and green. And that's what I'm going to use to do my painting. And you'll see in the middle of the paper there, I have a pine cone, and I thought it might make some nice marks too. So don't worry if you just want to do some prints as well, because there's no rules. So I'm picking this one first, and I'm going to see how it works. So I'm going to set my pine cone over. And let's see. I'm going to pick my pink. And get as much paint as you want on there. And then I'm going to just brush it along. And make my marks. I'm going to do some yellow, and then I'm going to change my brush. Oh. So I'm going to try the moss now. So I'm going to do wee dots with it. So you can mix your colours. So I think I'm going to do some yellow and some green. That page doesn't want to stay. Okay. And then I'll try my grass. So get some yellow. See the way the different materials make different marks. So the grass, because it's more like a brush, it's making different marks. Let's test it like a proper brush and put it in some water. And what do we think might happen? Okay. And then lastly, I'm going to use my pine cone. So how I'm going to use it is I'm going to just dip it in there and roll it all around. Get it all covered in paint. And then I'll use this bit. And then I'm going to see what marks it makes. So now it's your turn. Go and get your paint and make some beautiful images with your paintbrushes. I hope you enjoyed today's activity and got to make some beautiful paintings. Next week, Nina will be back for week 3 with another nature art huddle activity.